Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another show of Harmonics with Gregory Correa. Today's guest is a legend, probably one of the most, if not the most, decorated coach in California history, if not all of the Western Hemisphere. His name is Zack Papachristos, and I'm so happy that he's here tonight before I actually bring him on, because this man is a great man. He has he's done high achievements. But as a hallmark, and I'm hosting him tonight and interviewing this guy, because not only was his hallmark, regardless of where he coached or the sport that he led, he was a highly successful leader for both the wrestling and tennis teams over 4 years at Canyon High School. In Northern California, he took over wrestling program at Chabot College in 1969. Over the next 14 seasons, he turned the Gladiators into a powerhouse, winning 5 state championships, along with a state dual championship, 11 Northern California titles, and 12 Golden Gate Conferences championships. His team dropped just one conference dual meet in 14 years and was 152 wins and 6 losses overall during his career. Can you have anybody at Chabot Las Positas College? Can they match that? No. Coaching golf for 26 years, he won the state title. He won 3 state titles: tennis, wrestling, and his last one was golf in 2011, and was runner-up. 2 times won 10 California state championships and won 20 conference championships. He has received multiple Hall of Fame honors and awards. California Athlete Hall of Famer, California Community College Athletic Hall of Famer, California Community College Golf Hall of Famer, Chabot College Athletes Hall of Famer, City of Castro Valley Hall of Famer, California Wrestling Hall of Famer, California College Wrestling Hall of Fame, California Greek Hall of Fame, Coach of the Decade, President's Award, Reed Buffington Award, Chancellor's Award, and 6-time California Community College Coach of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to have on a guest and one of my best friends, the great Zack Papachristos. Come on in, Zack. How you doing, sir?
My pleasure to be here.
Come on, yes, come on, sit down.
Thank you very much for that tremendous introduction.
Oh, you deserve it. And I just want to,
you.
is that okay if we just pick up this book and just show this? This is Memoirs of Zack Papachristos' life, Papachristos. From near death to becoming a legend. And that is absolutely true. We're going to get in on this with Zack because we're going to talk about a lot of things. Zack, man, you look great.
Thank you very much. You do too. Thank you.
You know, did you have golf today, or did
No,
you
I did not play golf today. Today I had some other issues which I had to take care of. We had to take care of my car repaired. So we did a few things. Gina and myself, which is my lady.
Hi, Gina.
But that's all. We didn't do much of anything today, but just prepared for this today.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let's go back in this beautiful book that I've read. Can we just go back a little bit in at a time capsule, and so that you could tell a little bit? You were born in Greece, am I correct?
Correct.
So, and then can we travel like into your youth, and then what actually was a nightmare in your family's life? What happened then? But let's talk about, you were born in
Naupactus, Greece.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small town, about 10,000 population, and there I was. It was a great city. I just loved the city. It was near the water, and it had a harbor, and I enjoyed the city immensely.
Mm-hmm.
But when the war came on, things changed.
Mhm.
They changed drastically. So I was left at that time to take care of not only myself, but to try to be a provider also for the family
Okay.
at a very young age by using a slingshot, killing birds,
Mm-hmm.
going fishing, trying to catch fish.
Mhm.
Sometimes maybe the fisherman would give me some fish and I'd take home, and I really felt proud
Mm-hmm.
to do that. It was really amazing to do that. So it was when the war came and things have changed immensely.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened is that everything set in.
Mm-hmm.
I started school in the first grade, and schools were occupied by the Germans and by the Italian soldiers,
Mm.
and we didn't have any place to go to school. So I was minus 4 grades of not going to education.
Wow.
We had people that tried to hold classes outside in the open. It never materialized. So then the war, it started, when it started to slow down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
it's in my book.
Yes.
What I did is that when my dad was very protective of the family.
Mm-hmm.
During the time, what he did, he said, "Listen, I'm not going to keep you here when the war is coming on. I'm going to take you. I'm going to ship you up to the mountains. To ship them up to the mountains. We had a house up in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
and we stayed there until the war was over,
Mhm.
and then he brought us back.
Mhm.
Brought us back, and it was still a huge shock to what was happening. But one of the biggest things that happened to me was that I had a lot of love and protection from my mother, my sisters, and my father.
Mm-hmm.
They're very protected. But things got to the point where we did not have anything to eat.
Mm.
So we got to the point where we were eating snails at night and eating them next morning for breakfast.
Mm.
Of course, they created huge explosion of diarrhea.
Right. I was going to say.
Yeah, it was interesting. But one of the biggest things which I did see,
Mm-hmm.
the Napotus is surrounded by a huge fort,
Mm-hmm.
and the fort, it was built by your countrymen.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Romans.
the Romans were
Uh-huh.
built that back about 1,000 years ago.
Still stands today?
Still stands today, and it surround the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was two brothers that started. One started one end, and one started the other. And then by the time they met, they did not recognize each other. That's how bad it was. But it was interesting, from the standpoint. So I was able, when the war was starting to end,
Mhm.
and there was a German ship
Mhm.
that was out just outside
The peninsula
harbor,
was out in
the
the
harbor. Yeah, the Corinthian Gulf.
Mhm.
They were ready to move out.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, I'm up in the high elevation up here in this fort,
Mhm.
watching this, and here comes about 10 planes
Mhm.
coming from Patras, which is farther, and they started bombing the ship.
Unbelievable.
I was watching this. It was just like being in a movie. You watch a movie, you see it.
Right.
Well, here I was. It was
real.
It was real. Watch that. They bombed they started bombing, and one of the planes went down, but then they sank the ship.
They sank the ship. How old were you when you seen that?
I was
5, 8?
no, I was no. I think it was about. I had to be about 9 years old, 9 or 10.
Amazing. Did that affect you? Obviously, you could see that moment even today. You can
Oh, yeah.
visualize it in your mind.
It's still in my mind.
So your father, in reading your book, your father also, when the war was sort of winding down, and the Americans and the English and everybody else seemed to be moving. Your dad was somewhat of a hero also because he helped the Allies, right?
Yes, that's a good point. My
Mhm.
father was very fluent in English, so he was able to. They were looking for a person that was able to be an interpreter,
Mm-hmm.
and the English, by name it is John Edwards, was a captain. Took him under his wing, and gave him military outfit.
Right. You have them.
Yeah, it's in the books.
Right.
And he was able to go any place with him
Mhm.
and be their interpreter.
Right.
Well, it was so great. It was so great because they gave us so many good things you cannot believe what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and my dad really did an outstanding job taking care of. Here's it this way.
He was the man that actually saved you guys, your two beautiful sisters and your beautiful mom, and then you guys eventually came to America, and you came. Was it Chicago? Was the first stop that you stopped in?
No, New York.
You had to go in. Were you in Ellis Island, or did you have to go to Ellis Island, or did you just come right into the port?
We came into New York. My dad went through Ellis Island,
Mm-hmm.
but but the family, my mother and my two sisters and myself, we came through New York,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a sad day because I knew at that point I could never return
Mm-hmm.
to Nahua, Greece,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just kind of relatives picked us up there in New York. We stayed a couple of days, and from there we went to Chicago with other relatives, which my father had. And then we went to Salt Lake City, which was my mother's brother.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very wealthy man. He owned 10 supermarkets. And that's where we ended up, Salt Lake City.
Because your father worked for him for his
My father came first
Right.
because he claimed his citizenship
Mm-hmm.
prior to us coming over.
Right.
And the coincidence then was that he came in a military ship called Saturnia,
Mm.
which is Italian.
Mm-hmm.
And we came on the same ship later. Saturnia. What a coincidence.
Yeah, it is. That's quite cool.
Yeah.
So you were in Chicago, right? And then you went to
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, and you lived there for
When I
a time.
graduated from high school.
So let me ask you this: you didn't know how to speak
I
English,
did not.
so there's cute stories in here about you coming in and going and watching movies. So that's how you started. Do you remember any of the movies that you actually seen that change your dialect to from Greece, your language, your normal language, to a new language? Did that really help you?
That'd be a great deal.
Did it?
Because at that time when I was in Salt Lake City,
Mm-hmm.
you could not in any way, you had to speak perfectly English.
Mm.
You could not have an accent. If you had an accent,
No good.
no good. So I was working I didn't have anything to do. I didn't think anything to do. So I said to my dad, can I get something? Can I maybe talk and see, maybe I can come in and work in the grocery store. Maybe I can push the carts and bag groceries and something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to my uncle, and I was able to do that. Now, where the contact came in was that my uncle knew the person that we were staying in, the apartment we were staying in, and they own a theater.
Mhm.
So I asked, can I possibly go there and watch the? Yes, you can go there at any time.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, and what I did, I sat there and enunciated everything that was said by the cowboys.
So you watch cowboy and westerns.
Westerns was the key thing.
What was
Roy Rogers, Gene Autry,
Oh, so you were watching those
In
guys.
fact, I'm still watching them today.
That's a good thing because everybody wants to be a cowboy, right?
Right.
So you were there and you were doing and you were learning all that. Was your mom and your two beautiful sisters? Because I want to get into your sisters a little bit and your mom, but you always have talked so highly about your two sisters and how much. I mean, I've known you for over 35 years now, so I mean, you've always talked elegantly about your two sisters and how beautiful they were. And one is still with us, and one has gone to the next level. What were they to you when you were growing up and being a teenager and just being who they were?
My oldest sister, Thaya,
Mm-hmm.
was one of the most The best sister anyone could have.
Mm.
Intelligent, joked all the time, had you laughing. I mean, you couldn't ask anything more. And she always protected her. My middle sister, Catherine, and what Catherine was the middle child, and so she bounced back and forth beside I and myself because I was getting a lot of attention, being the
Of course,
only boy.
only men.
Yeah, the only boy.
Yes.
So, but they were both very successful. My older sister went to University of Utah, graduated with honors, and my other sister, Catherine, became a model on Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of her.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. So, and here I was, little Zack Papachristos, and do much, amount to much of anything. But my oldest sister taught at DePaul University for 12 years in philosophy.
Mhm.
And Catherine, of course, was a model, and then she worked for a doctor's office. And myself, I decided to come out to California. The person that's responsible for me coming out to California was my roommate in college, Don Baldacino. Bless his soul, he just passed away.
I've heard you talk about him.
Yeah, so we were in the service together, and then I decided to come out to California. And all this would not happen, the accomplishments that happened if it wasn't for Don Baldacino.
Unbelievable. And he just passed just recently.
Yes, he did.
So you guys were very close. Obviously, you're very close because you're in Utah with him. I wanted to get to the point too. I'm going to just come back a little bit. There's a section in your book that I just love immensely is when you're in your youth, and you've always liked sports, but you were really a skinny kid, right? But you always had the capabilities. You started planting seeds. It seemed like in the book that you wanted to be in the sports, but you started feeling this is maybe my direction to be a coach. Pretty amazing and you were pretty good in baseball. I know that. But you started seeing yourself differently and starting to grow to become a coach. When did you actually knew that you were going to be a coach?
I knew that I wanted to be a coach when I was in junior high school. A guy by the name of Chub Utter. He was so
great name.
Chub Utter, right?
Chubby. Chub.
Yeah, he was so great. Can't believe he had an organization, for us that taught us skills, everything. And I said I wanted to be like him. But then to confirm that, when I went to the high school, a guy by the name of Keith Tolstrup. Here I was, a 75-pound guy, maybe 80 pounds.
Wet,
yeah. Wet, yeah. And so I liked the way which he coached. And I said I wanted to be, that's what I wanted to go pursue it.
And you really focused on it.
Yes, I did.
And I know that you had a career that you met a lot of movie stars and things like that. I like the cute one just so we could go because we got to we're streaming in different areas. Tell me the story about Danny Thompson's daughter, not Malo.
Marta.
Yeah. You helped her foot. She sprained herself.
Well, when I graduated from the University of Utah, then I was able to get a position through a friend of mine, and at Elisol Guest Ranch, which is down by Solvang, California.
Okay.
A lot of the movie stars would come in there for vacation. Danny Thomas brought his whole family there. So did Burt Lancaster, and many movie stars. And Marlo had just graduated from USC.
Trojan.
Yeah, USC. And she stepped and just kind of sprained her ankle a little bit. I just got going through a course at the University of Utah on how to handle athletic injuries. And so I was there. So what I did, I said, please, give me. So I iced it for a while. I iced it, and then what happened? I wrapped it with an ace bandage, and they were very, very thankful. And I had dinner with them and everything else. So it was. But Marlo still. I'm so proud of her. She's still, handling her father's
dream.
Yeah.
St.
Jude.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I'm glad. I just wanted to bring that up. So I'm gonna carry it up a little bit because I know we want to talk about leadership. So I'm gonna get into your coaching. Your first real coaching job was at Canyon High School in Castro Valley,
Uh,
or did you have a
no,
whole thing?
we it was two schools were being built at that time: Marina High School and Canyon High School. And the holdover school was at the old Hayward High School.
Oh, the old
The old Hayward High. For 2 years, all the kids were being bused in from Castro Valley and from Marina and from San Leandro.
to go into
Right. So when the two schools were completed, then you had to make a choice where to go to school.
Mhm.
Which school? So I chose Canyon because at that time I started building a good wrestling program down at the Foothill High School. At that time was over.
You've done a lot of great things at Canyon. Um, I mean, the football coach, the legendary football coach. Let's talk to him about him a little bit. You were a football coach for a little bit, right, at Canyon?
Right.
And you guys you won some games, right? And you faced off against a legendary coach who's our friend, but knows you for all those years. What was that score who was the coach and what was the score?
Well, at that time, the only reason why I took it was a frost-off football team, and I took it to Canyon. And my two friends, Jim Garrett and Wayne Snyder, they were coaching at Hayward High, and they took it. Wayne was denied getting the head football job when he was available at Hayward, so he says, "Well, I'll coach the frost-off." So they both coached frost-off football. So they came over to Canyon. I was coaching them. And I came over and I met them out there, and they said, "Where's your team?" I said, "Oh, they'll show up." So they showed up. And we finally showed up, and we played them. And Canyon, we beat them 20-0.
You let Wayne know that all the time.
Oh yeah, I let him know. Of course, he's a legend.
Right.
Tracy.
Of course.
He's one of the greatest high school football coaches
in California. So then you got a call to work at Chabot College.
Well, that was a different situation. I didn't get the call. Yeah, I got the call, and right. But I was going to go for a doctorate program.
Okay.
I was going to go to University of Utah for a doctorate program. I'd already been accepted at the University of Utah. I already had made all arrangements, had my sabbatical approved at Castro Valley Unified School District. And the job came up here because Bob Thompson was injured, hurt his neck. And he persuaded me to apply for the job. So I applied for the job. And they told me at that time, "Listen, we have to wait till April 30th because if a qualified minority is for the job, we're going to hire a minority." So I waited. So I waited that day, and finally my wife drives up and says, "You got to call Chabot College." So I called Chabot College, and they said they offered me the position. So I took the position. I accepted the position, and that was history.
How long did you coach here?
I coached here for wrestling for 14 years, and I coached 26 years for golf.
You took Jay Yarbrough.
I took Jay Yarbrough. That was
another legend, another guy that did. You were an outstanding. I'm going to talk about two things about you. I knew that you won a tennis state thing. I mean, you're very versatile, and you're a very great communicator. We all know that who've been around you. Your wrestling teams were outstanding, right? Legends. You've had legends in there. Name some of the players so that we could give them honor, because I want to ask you who is your best wrestler, but name some of the guys that wrestled became pros.
Well,
and then helped with Thomas, and he became one of your very great fans. Played with the Jets and the Niners. I'd like to honor Ed Gallagher.
Yeah.
What did you think of Eddie when he was?
Eddie was an amazing athlete. He played here. He played 3 sports here at Chabot College. He played football, he wrestled, he played baseball. And he always tells Gene Wellman, he says, "You cheated me out of me becoming a professional baseball player." Gene Wellman was the athletic director and a baseball coach. But not only Ed, he became a friend. He became a friend, a very close friend. And then he also assisted me here at Chabot College. We won a state championship right here on campus.
All right.
Yeah, he was one assistant. But the greatest guy that needs the recognition was responsible for all the achievements which we accomplished here.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Steve Soroy.
Mm-hmm.
We just recently retired.
Just Steve, yes.
Steve was
Deadly.
Steve is going to be inducted into the California Athletic Hall of Fame, which all the legends are there now.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this year, because he's been nominated for it. But he has. But we have other outstanding people that have gone on, but those two stand out a great deal.
So
the first team which we had brought the first state championship here.
That's really special.
That was special because it was the first state championship of any sport.
Right.
That was brought here.
Mm-hmm.
And we won it in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really funny. And to tell you a little story about it, that night I rented a facility so we could all party. The parents, the wrestlers and everything else. And one of the things that happened, we had a heavyweight by the name of Randy Hudson that sits on this kind of chair and crushes it. He weighed 320 pounds.
That's too big for me.
Monday morning after I come into class, I'm teaching my test class out there. I see Reed Buffington, President Reed Buffington, walking out to that facility.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Oh my God!" He must have done that. He's probably got a report from the hotel that we read and ripped it up. But that was not the case. He comes out there, he grabs me, hugs me, and congratulates me, and speaks to my class. What a class act!
He was. Yeah, I want to talk about that. That you're absolutely correct because we're moving kind of fast on certain things. You've had all the accolades that you could possibly have. Let's change the channel. You've been here a long time. You've seen how Chabot has changed, how they've built terrible buildings. What do you think of the leadership here at Chabot Las Positas?
Well, the one thing I can say about the leadership which we had previously, they had certain qualities, and they were loyal. They were trustworthy. They had tremendous desire, and they had credibility. Above all, they had great communication skills. I don't see this today.
You're right.
I don't see that all the administrators collectively getting together and going to football games, going to basketball games, anything like that. I think that is lacking.
Very much so.
And I hate to see that happening here at Chabot College because I thought they should have followed the status that was established by that administration. The other thing is I also call it what's called the cancer culture. I see that the historical things that were built, that were won and awarded to Chabot College, they don't longer exist here.
No.
Why? That's what every institution. That's what they
have their history.
They have their history, exactly.
And you started you started the Hall of Fame, so that's one thing that is here, but I don't think it's recognized enough. They should have an honor. I don't know. I forget. I remember because I worked on it, but I think we should have like a day of a Hall of Fame. You used to have those dinner parties, but they kind of went away from that. I don't know. I think that in many ways, people have forgot. You got to know your past before you can know your present and your future, because your past stands on a solid rock. You have done that, and there was great coaches. You talked about Wellman, great coaches, Soroy. There's all kinds of players. The great coach, Rich Patello.
Patello, Keith Calkins,
right?
Dr. Keith Calkins, all Terry Kagana. We had some great coaching.
Right.
But there was tremendous cohesiveness that lacks, that does not exist, simply because you don't have the leadership.
Thank you.
You have to have great leaders.
Well, they don't want to. They don't want to engage. You know, it's like when you remember when we'd all eat in the cafeteria. They changed all of that. They made it so that you couldn't see people and engage with classified and certificated and administration. They got away from that, and that's one of the things that I think that and they did of, as you and I both know, they made a district office, which I think is
The district office.
You know, I mean, it isn't like it. I know people say, well, you guys think of the old, but the old in many ways was a lot better than the new here. You have a lot of people. You didn't hear a lot of the things how people are being treated here by the district office because these guys don't come down here.
No.
They don't come down here.
No.
It's almost like a sterilization.
Yes, it is.
You know, you were the one I was sitting right in back of you that day when Cardozo spoke.
President Cardozo?
Yeah, remember that guy? Oh, I'm not, and you know, Wagner and all those other guys, Phil Wagner, all these guys, and I believe this myself, and I'm glad I could say this out loud because you're a leader. Everybody in that room at one time or when in certain areas in our school, the science department, you know, like Scott Hildridge and all these people, they were leaders of their you know, Gil Wybera, you know, they were all there who you could always rely on them. They were always on. There was always an engagement. Steve DePrado, who came in later on in our lives.
Right.
Great men, great women. We had great teachers. You know, I think the reason why they just don't want to know.
I think what it is, it's the point right now. They're not willing to do some extra things above and beyond their position.
Mm-hmm.
What they want to do is just stay exactly there. They don't want to disturb anything, collect their money, etc. But that's not the way. That's not the way.
Exactly.
Why didn't they follow suit when they had it established? It was a great establishment they had here. You know what Reed Buffington used to do? He used to tell when we had football games, we'll meet you out Dan Pellione. Dan Pellione used to be workout.
Right. He's a supervisor.
Director.
Right.
And maintenance.
Right.
We used to meet out there. And all of us go to the football game.
Yeah. Fact.
Yeah. But now you don't see that.
No. You know, I want to, because you've done some things here, and I think when you used to have, and it's legendary stories, and I'm glad that me and you are such good friends, but to actually talk about history as we know it at Chabot College, mostly at Chabot College, but our sister thing was, you know, the South County at that time.
Yeah.
It was just a little eight buildings. It's a little bit different. I think they're treated different than at Chabot. I think the district, you know, relies on them a little bit more than the bedrock here. But there's such good tales. I want you to. I never seen your wrestling matches, but you made it like before there was WWF. You had Chabot College Gladiators. You had it like already like a television scene.
Well, what I did is I worked a deal with Dan Pellione,
Mm-hmm.
and there were some lights in the main gym that were not. They would just sit there. There's supposed to be a stage.
Right.
So I looked at it and I evaluated for a while, and I said, you know, I think we can do something with this. So I go to Dan Pellione. Dan, you think you can move those lights and put them in the center of the gymnasium right there? Can you do that? He says, Zach, yeah, I can do it. He says, but it's going to cost you. I said, well, how much? He said, 2 cases of beer.
That's how men were men back then.
That's right.
You could keep it.
The next day,
Uh-huh.
the lights were on there, and he showed me, how effective and how quickly he moved to get this done.
That's right.
So that's it. So we were working together. We had a tremendous relationship.
Teamship.
Counselors, you know, with classified, certificated.
Right.
We were all together.
Right.
And that was so what I did, and that really changed the whole thing.
You changed the whole thing.
Motivated.
And I believe that that's what changed the dynamic, because there was nothing like, and you know this, there was nothing like having, I mean, you and I, DePrado, whoever was sitting at Soroy, we did that for at least 10 to 15 years, just eating together all the
Right,
time.
exactly.
You know, and then moving around in different areas and still meeting each other, or seeing you in the racquetball club. Those are great memories. Zach, I want to tell you, as we close, you are to me the essence of an American hero. You are a legend. You speak your mind, your honest, your integrity, your gratitude to people. Coming on my show, I feel very honored. You're a great man. I'm glad I've known you all these years for 35 years. Um, and I hope we continue our great relationship, and let's hope make our country, we can make it feel better hopefully in the future. I wanted to thank Gina for coming to give you support, but thank you so much.
I want to thank you very much, Greg, for having me. Really, you're a dear friend, and I appreciate it very much.
Oh, you're one of the best,
And
man.
if you people, if you're right here, this is my whole story right here, my life story. If you're interested, go to Amazon.com. Okay, it's available.
So, ladies and gentlemen, how could I even? This is a legend. I mean, I'm sitting right next to a legend that has my dear friends. Can you imagine? He beat the Nazis as a child. He left, came to America, came to Utah, Chicago, his beautiful family, came to California, and created a monster legend here at Chabot College. There is nobody at Chabot College could touch this man and all the things that he has done for our school. So, without saying another thing, I want to say God bless you all. And as we normally do, peace and love to everybody. Love you. Thank you, Zach. Peace.
You're welcome. Thank you.